Good morning, you guys. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Christel Crawford Show. I am your host, Christel Crawford. At least I think that's who I am today. Last time I checked, I'm still named that. I created this week's topic last night at around 11:30 p.m. Hi, Tanya. And I called it, Where is the Start Beyond the Stop? I was gonna make it this really long title that was like talking about, stopping yourself and da 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 da. And I was like, but wait, what's the creative, angle on this? What could we be looking for that we haven't yet started to look for? So, hey Sandy, hey Katie, hi Christiane, hi Cindy. Christiane, I think you sent me in something. Let me look here. So every week I do this show. Hey, Cindy Lynn, did I say that already? Hi again. You guys are always welcome to ask questions. So if you have any questions about, stopping yourself or what it is you could be asking, or if you'd like a tool for your thing and you are looking for your start beyond the stop, go ahead and ask me and I will talk about it today. Hi, Bruna. Hi, Michael. Christiane actually did send in something, so let me start there and then we'll just keep going. This topic came up because I'm starting a business program on Wednesday called Actualize Business. You're all invited. Most of you won't choose it. That's okay. But I did a 5-day Actualize Business challenge, and this happened last week. A lot of you played. Like 160 of you played, which was so good. And it was so fun because when I create these challenges, I create them so that you have a reason to go back into the group and I have a reason to talk to you, because otherwise we're just all online. And hi Pilar, hi Rebecca. We're all online and we don't actually get to interact. So a lot of the reason I do these challenges is one, to invite you to something, but also so I get to talk to you. And so I did. And what was really cool, it was cool to see a lot of you, hey Lene, everybody did something different. There was a big group that signed up for the challenge and left it in their library and never touched it. There was a big group that got into it and started playing and got through days 1 and 2 and it was great. But there was a big group that got to 3 and 4 and 5 and was like, ah. And then a few people that went all the way through. I knew that would occur. First of all, there's never a formula for what it is you want to create. Okay. But sometimes it's helpful. Like when you're learning music, I'm sitting at the piano right now, which I don't know if you can see. Sort of. So when you're learning music, when I learned music, I started out learning classical piano, and it was the Suzuki method. And so in the Suzuki method, you listen. You're basically ear training music the same way you would language. Actually, the same way kids learn language is the way we start to learn the piano, and that's actually how the whole method was created. They started to look at how little children learn languages, and so they created this piano method based on that, which is amazing. So I can pick out notes and songs and things very easily, because from when I was a kid, what we did is we basically played these cassette tapes of this music over and over and over and over, and then we opened a book of music. But I didn't really understand what was on the page. I understood what I was hearing and I understood the keys. So I played a lot from ear. And it was actually learning to read music that was really hard for me because it was now that I'm looking at it, it was too slow. I had to do the thing on the page, then translate that into my keys, and then I couldn't have my eyes on my fingers. And so reading music for me was really difficult. But I said all that to say that learning music, you start by learning someone else's music. You start by learning, so I learned Mozart and Beethoven and Schumann and all the Baroque composers, all the really bright and light, very technically adept composers. So I can do scales really easily. All my fingers work really well because that's what I was taught. So that's when you're learning music, that's what you do. When you're learning language, that's what you do. You actually learn common phrases and where's the bathroom and how do I get a beer and do you want to sleep with me? I don't think they teach you that in high school, but they should. Do you have condoms would be another really great question. How do you say, do you have condoms in Spanish? That is a helpful phrase, my friends. So anyway, and then once you learn that stuff, once you have vocabulary, once you get sentence structure, once you get how to play the piano and scales and all that stuff, then you start to create your own music if you want. So what I did with the challenge is I invited people to a structure. I'm like, hey, try this on for 5 days. Do this piece, do this piece, do this piece. I know all of those pieces are required for a really super vibrant, successful business at some point, maybe not right up front. And so people dove in. And so what shows up when you begin to choose in any direction, always, is all of the points of view that you've bought or you're aware of that will stop you. Always. I'll tell you a quick story. I like this topic. I'm putting my beautiful apartment up for rent again. I'm ready to have a bigger place, but I'm also going traveling forever. I'm going to be gone for all summer. I'm going to be gone all summer. I'm going to be in Calgary facilitating. Then I'm traveling to Europe to go to Vienna, then Slovenia to facilitate, then I'm taking some classes in Paris, and I'm facilitating in England, then I'm facilitating in Canada, and then I'm spending a month with my friend. Like, it's crazy. I'm not going to be home. So, and I want a bigger place. So anyway, so my place is up for rent and I put it on Airbnb. Well, yesterday I got a ping, and this couple had requested to rent my place for all summer. All summer they wanted to be here. So they did something out of the ordinary. This was their first time Airbnb, and they were like, I know this is not normal. Can we come and see it? They're right down the road. I'm right here. I'm like, yeah, of course. So they come by. They're this really snappy looking, gorgeous couple who's, probably in their mid-50s. They've got a grown son who's getting married, and they are just ready to change their lives. They're just ready for a different thing. They've been doing the same house and raising kids and all this stuff for all this time, and now they're ready to change their life. And so they thought they'd rent a beautiful place in Serenbe, which is the neighborhood I live in. It's this wellness community with farmers markets on Saturdays and outdoor concerts and outdoor plays and art everywhere. It's so cool. 3 restaurants on the property. This is such a cool place to live. Let's just rent a place there for the summer, and then we'll, be there and hi Shelly, hi Mia. And whatever, and see what happens. So they came in and they looked around and they loved it. And they were like, we're in, we'll take it. And I was like, amazing. So we worked out the finer points. They're gonna send me a deposit. I'm gonna sign a little thing, blah, blah, blah. Great. 4 hours after they show up, right? It turns out right after they came to visit me, changed their life completely, they went to visit their mother, one of their mothers, who's in a care home. She's being cared for. And I don't know all the details, but what I get later, about 4 hours later, was, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We were so excited, but we went to visit one of our moms, and the care she's not getting is not good, and we got all this information, and we're gonna choose to bring her home and take care of her here instead. This is not a show debating the finer points of whether or not you should or should not care for your parents. What was so interesting about that is they were so ready to completely change their life. And the choice they made instead was to actually do this other thing. And all I looked at was the energy. And that's really all I ever look at with any choice, is I look at, hey, does that choice expand or contract their future? And when I looked at the choice, their whole choice world went like this. But I've seen that over and over and over and over and over with people saying, I want this and I want this and I want to create this and I want to create this. And the moment they choose it, the moment they start to move forward and all this stuff comes up to clear, is the moment that they give up on themselves and they go back into doubt and guilt and fear, which, by the way, are all distractor implants. Now, let's talk about that for a minute, because I actually just watched, if you don't know Shannon O'Hara, she's another facilitator, and she did a whole series of videos on each distractor implant. There's 24 of them, you guys. What is a distractor implant? It is designed, created to distract you from knowing that you know and from choosing. Brilliant. Guess what some of them are? Guilt is a distractor implant. Fear is a distractor implant. Shame is a distractor implant. Blame is a distractor implant. There's 24. So love, sex, jealousy, peace, life, living, death, reality, anger, rage, fury, and hate. Business is a distractor implant. Fear, doubt, business, and relationship. There's more that I can't think of right now. There's a whole book on it called Living Beyond Distraction. So what happens? So you choose more than you've ever chosen before. You're like, I'm actualizing this business. I don't know how. I've never done this before. I don't even know what it's going to take, but I'm in. And you just start somewhere. And that's what this whole program is. It's like we're going to take 6 months and we're going to start places every month. Hey, we're starting here. We're actualizing this stuff. This is a doing and being program, right? The point is to actualize things, not just talk about them, not just pock and pod why you can't, but actually do things. Why? Because choice creates awareness. Until you start to choose things, you don't have the awareness you need to make the next choice. And what so many of us do is we spin around and around and around and around in our heads, never making a choice. So that reason, so that we don't get it wrong, so that we don't do the wrong thing, so that we don't start wrong. Oh wait, so that we don't do it wrong, right? Mostly just so we don't do it wrong. And we don't know what right is, so we don't do the right, we don't start on the right thing because we don't know what that is, and we don't want to do it wrong, so we don't do the wrong thing, and so we just sit in a pool of indecision, and then it turns into apathy, and then depression, and I mean, it just depends on who you're talking to with how extreme it gets. But that's what we create for ourselves instead. And so what I would invite you to do first off is everything that is times a godzillion, everywhere you've decided that thing that you do with yourself is more valuable than really choosing what you'd like to create. Will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Now, if you don't know what that crazy statement is I just said, go to theclearingstatement.com and you'll find out everything you need to know. So right before you're about to succeed, all this stuff comes up. Now, here's the thing. When you do not acknowledge what a thing is, so for example, if you don't acknowledge that guilt is a distractor implant and you just feel it, right? You're just in guilt. You're just feeling guilt. You're washed with guilt. You fell into a pool of guilt for going out and living your life, for choosing for you, for, you know, you've got kids, but you're choosing to go to Africa for a week, you know, you selfish bitch, you know, and you're like, you find yourself, let's put it in those words for a minute, in a puddle of doubt. What do? Don't go into why you feel guilty. Getting yourself out of and into creation, out of the shit and into creation, is being a great fucking facilitator of yourself. And that has several facets to it. And one of them is being super present with you. Because what we like to do is we like to get carried away with our feelings. Just because you feel something does not make it real. And by real, I mean real. Guilt is a distractor implant. Does that make it real? No, it just makes it a creation. Somebody created it, maybe. Somebody created it, you bought it, it felt real to you. There's intensity in your body, it's making you cry, you're all these things. Your mom used to use it to manipulate you, and so all of a sudden it's real. It's a reality. Reality. That which is and can't be argued about. Based on what? Based on the fact that you feel it? Based on the fact that somebody else feels it? Based on the fact that some therapist told you it was real? Based on what is it real? So when you buy it as a real thing, it's a real feeling and I need to work through it. There's your first false premise that's going to stick you right in place. Why? Because it's not true. And how do you know that? Does it make you feel lighter when you say that? Every single thing that's true for you will give you a sense of space and lightness. Everything that's not true will not give you that sense of space and lightness. It will give you that sense of heaviness. So does guilt make you lighter? No. Well, then it's not true. But I feel it and I should, and then we'll go into the stories that justify the feeling, right? This is all the things. And everything I'm weaving through this conversation is in the 10 Keys to Total Freedom by Gary Douglas and Dane here, and Living Beyond Distraction, which is another book. So if you need those links, just let me know and I'll pop them in there for you. So, okay, we're doing this thing, we're gonna go, and all of a sudden we feel guilty. Now what do? Do you buy it as real, or do you go, oh wait, I know what guilt is. Guilt is a distractor implant. Now you gotta be pretty fucking present with yourself to just have this conversation with yourself. Because if you get swept away by the feeling of it, you're already gone. You are gone. The gift of you is gone in a sweeping choice for guilt. You're gone. You're no longer there. The gift of you is missing in a big fucking torrent of guilt that you think is more valuable than you. So that's okay, because you are, I'm so grateful. Good. I'm glad. This seems to be relevant to a lot of you. So okay, you get swept away. So now you're down at the bottom of the stream with the log jam that's down there because the flood came of you. The flood of your interesting choices sent you into a log jam at the bottom of the river. Your leg might be broken. You're like, well, now what? That's fine. You can start to change there too. We have a new choice in every 10 seconds. Doesn't matter if you're in the log jam or right before the log jam. Because as you start to get the guilt as a distractor implant, the space between you recognizing it and being swept away by it will grow. Okay? Will grow. It will grow. I remember when I learned that frustration was a choice. Y'all, frustration was my favorite thing. I was frustrated about everything. I was frustrated about how slow everything was. I was frustrated about other people. I was frustrated about driving. I was frustrated about time frames. I was frustrated by myself. I was frustrated by everything. Okay? That moment when you discover that frustration is a choice. It's not a feeling. Feelings happen to you. These things we're talking about do not happen to you. You choose them. But they've been unconscious for so long, they don't feel like a choice. They feel automatic. So you stop and you just sit in feelings for however long you do. It depends on the feeling. We've kind of been going on guilt, but let's take guilt. So swept away by guilt. Now you're at the bottom of in the log jam and you're like, okay, what do I know about guilt? I can keep feeling shitty and not choose the life that I'd like to choose, or I can fucking choose something else. So what do I know about guilt? Right. Distractor implant. Distractor. Guilt is meant to distract me from what I can actually choose. Well, what can I actually choose? Yeah, and what might happen at that point is you get all these stories that come up. Yeah, but if I choose that, then my husband will leave me. If I choose that, then my kids will be pissed. If I choose that, then I don't know what's going to happen with my job, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. And all these stories are going to come up. Why? Because you're about to choose beyond what you've ever chosen before, bitches. So guess what's going to come up? Every single possible thing that you could use to limit you. Why? I have no idea why. I don't know if it's because we're pioneers in a new reality and we're just willing to fucking choose beyond what everybody else buys as real. By the way, that's you. You're willing to choose beyond what everybody else buys as real. I don't know if you've acknowledged that about yourself. You would not be watching my fucking videos if you did not have that capacity in some way. So I don't know why it comes up, but it does. So then what are you going to do with it? Then it's like, you don't think that when I choose, like I'm creating myself into a speaker right now. I have yet to go into module 2 where we actually compose the speech. I am currently not choosing that. And I have whys, but they're not relevant. So I've been observing myself not choosing to go into that module. And I'm like, well, how would you like to handle this, self? Do you want to keep avoiding it? Is now the time? Would you like to do it while you're traveling? Do you want to schedule it? What would you like to do with this? But I'm having a conscious conversation with myself. I'm not going into, I can't, and here's why. And will somebody please pock and pod me because I'm having a problem? I'm not having a problem. I'm just not choosing to do module 2 yet. That's it. That makes it so goddamn simple. Because then I can sit there and look at that and go, well, I'm just not choosing that. Well, would you like to choose that? Well, not yet. Well, how about now? No. Well, do you want to schedule this? What do you know about yourself, Christel? If you just keep doing this, what do you know about you? Well, I know that I probably won't do anything with it if I don't do something with it. So what does that look like, Christel? Me to me, me to me, me to me. Well, let's see. How have I done this before in the past? How have I gotten around this particular thing that I like to do with myself to keep me from being greater? I do this to me all the time. So I'm in that process right now with me. I could just stay there and be stopped. I never have to be a speaker. Nobody cares. Maybe if I had been a speaker at one point, like Anthony Bourdain died, I miss him somehow. I didn't watch a lot of his stuff, but I miss him, right? Like, he's not in the world anymore. So maybe after I've been really well known, 100,000 of you know me right now, but maybe after I'm really well known, this is crazy talk. Maybe then people would miss me, but they won't miss what I don't do. It is not about you guys. It's not about the people that I'm going to speak to. This choice is for me. The future I want to actualize, the thing I want to have in the world. So this is not about everybody else. And what guilt does, for example, is it puts the attention on, well, they're going to do this and they're going to do this and they're going to do this. They have nothing to do with what it is you want to actualize in the world. And if they want to contribute and come along and they're your kids and whatever, and you can include them, yay. And if not, what the fuck are you going to choose? Because you can. So you're sitting there with guilt. You're like, well, I know this is a distractor implant. All right, well, what do you do with a distractor implant? Well, you pock and pod the distractor implant. Okay, well, everything this distractor implant is, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all nine shorts, boys, meons. And sometimes you have to loop that shit, right? Sometimes you're right in it and you're like, I can't change it. All right, fine. So everywhere I'm buying guilt is real, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all nine shorts, boys, meons. What's the value of using guilt is another epic tool. What's the value of choosing guilt? Ask yourself that and then clear it, and then ask yourself that and then clear it, and ask yourself that and then clear it until you, thank you, Tanya, until you get to the lightness and the space and the peace and ease of you. You're in somebody else's shit that's not real for you. Guilt, fear. You know what fear covers up? Your power and your potency. Every single time you tell yourself you're afraid, you are covering up your power and your potency. Every single time. Doubt keeps you in the constant questioning doubt of you. You never get to actually get to what you are capable of choosing. So there's something always underneath. There's something underneath distraction, always. It's distraction. Sex is a distractor implant. Love is a distractor implant. There's 5,000 billion definitions of love. What does it even mean? Nobody knows. But when you're being grateful for somebody, you're just being with them, right? Love is a total distractor implant. Some people use love to control and kill you. Some people use love to abuse you. Some people use love to just be grateful for you. Most don't. Most use love as a manipulation of some kind, right? So underneath the distraction is what's truly available, is what you're truly aware of, is consciousness, awakeness, awareness. Are you willing to be that assertive, aggressively present with you? To have what you're having? Listen, I don't know what most of what I want to create in the world looks like. I don't. I go through these phases where I get really wordless, even when I'm talking. I'm so grateful sometimes for topics that are distractor implant topics, or, you know, let's talk about interesting point of view, because everything else I'm aware of, I don't know how to tell you. I can't tell you about it. Everything that I'm creating energetically, I can't talk about that. There's no words. So how do you create it then? You fucking keep going. You just keep choosing what's in front of you. What are the possibilities today? What are the choices I have available today? What would be fun to create? If I could, you just start to instigate your own creative ability, because it doesn't matter how those energies show up. You are them. You're the fucking gift. You are them. So it could show up as a bars business. It could show up as whatever I'm calling this business, my Certified Facilitator Access Consciousness class business. You know, it could show up as speaking. It could show up as fucking, I don't know, a USB cord, like whatever. It doesn't matter. Consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. It's just me that does the judging. So if I'm being those energies, I can choose anything. And you can either let that be overwhelming, or that can be an invitation to go, well, I can't fuck this up. I could just go full on headlong into creating a bars business and in a way I don't even know how to do it, and just talk to every goddamn person about bars, or just say, hey, listen, I have hands and you have a head. Should we meet up? You know? And I can't fuck it up, because consciousness includes me, and it doesn't matter what I create anyway, and that just looks fun. I just like putting my hands on people's heads. Okay, well, how many people's head? Do you have a head I could borrow? You know, like what's actually possible that you've not considered because you've been so busy judging and trying to get it right. Getting it right's not a distractor implant. That's just stupidity. It's just stupidity. It's just unconsciousness. And we all do it so much so. So, I have no idea what time it is. Feels like it's been an hour. It's only been 23 minutes. I guess here's the, oh man, if I were going to give you a summary of the tools I would use if you're stopping yourself, I would I would just begin to ask a different question. Because so many, if you go into trying to figure out why you're stopping yourself, you're sending yourself down a rabbit hole. You ain't never gonna come back up out of that rabbit hole until you figure it out that it's a rabbit hole. So you're down the rabbit hole until you got your head straight up your ass if you go into trying to figure out why you're stopping yourself. Straight up your ass with no lube. It's not that fun. If instead you go, well, what's the start beyond the stop? So I see that I'm stopping myself. So for me, I've got this second module. Hi, Marcella. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Susanna. This, for this class that I'm taking on creating a keynote speech. So there's this module number 2 that is actually creating and composing the speech. So I've got to look at for myself, what do I require to put in place where I know that I'll choose it, right? And for me, I need to go to a place that has no Wi-Fi, where it's just busy. I need to go to a cafe of some sort, and I actually need to just listen to the course there and then get into a creative space, turn off my Slack, turn off my emails, turn off all my other stuff. Because for me to create that, I know I require that. You will always know what you require to move yourself forward right when you need to move yourself forward. Always. If you let yourself know. But you got to be willing to move forward, and you got to be willing to ask a different question. So that's my start beyond the stop, is like, okay, I know I need to create that for myself. So the next step is creating it. Okay, so where on my schedule do I want to do that? Is it easier in the morning, easier in the afternoon? Just asking myself questions. You guys all know how to do this. But you typically will do it for other people and not so much for yourself. There's no reason and justification for you to succeed. There's no reason and justification for you to fail. Both are just choices you have. And if you don't see them as choices, you'll be robbing yourself of the one thing that will empower you beyond anything else. They're both just choices. Do you know what success looks like? No. Do you have a sense of it? Sure. Do you probably need to get more clear on it? Maybe. Maybe you just need to start something. Maybe you just need to do a challenge and throw up a Facebook page and put up a thing and try an opt-in and do a video and just see what happens. Right? You might not have enough information yet, and choice is what creates awareness. You can't have all the awareness before you start. The awareness comes as you start. And you don't know where to start, so you just start anywhere. And that's true for me when I'm expanding any part of my business, adding things, I'm going to be adding a swag store. We're starting a new club called Club Choice. I'm not exactly sure where to start that thing, so I just got onto Shopify. I actually just Googled, how do you start a t-shirt store? I've been wanting to start a t-shirt store for 18 years. I'm starting a t-shirt store. I think in t-shirt phrases. You guys are going to have so many t-shirts, it's going to be crazy. I don't know how to do that. So I just Googled it. I'm like, how do you start a t-shirt store? There's something else that I've just chosen recently. Recently, I've been looking at and dancing around and, playing with the idea of being a homeowner just for fun. I've never been one. Just not for me, not really want to. And then everything I've been asking for lately is yes, I want to start owning homes and then flipping them. And then that's something I've always wanted to do. But I've only ever dabbled in it. So I've now chosen it. And now I'm like, okay, so now who do I need to talk to figure out how to get into this with not a lot of money down? Because I know there's people that do that. So how do they do that? But with that energy and those questions, that will show up for me. Oh, I think this is a good idea. It doesn't show that up. So this is a terrible sum up. There's no bullet points here. There's only paragraphs. But hopefully you've gotten something out of it. I mean, you get to succeed just because you can. And for me, it's just not acceptable that the world continues on the way that it is. And I am a gift, and you are a gift. And if we have something that can contribute to creating a change on this planet, I'm in. And I'm going to support the people that are creating a change on this planet. And I'm going to give my money to people that are creating a change, that are creating a sustainable future for me, for the planet. Bars is not just bars. It's empowering somebody with the awareness that they never knew they've always had. Access consciousness tools and a certified facilitator business isn't just a certified facilitator business. I'm facilitating, inviting people, you guys, to choose more, to be all that you are. Because right now, the people that are being loudest are the Trumps and the evangelical misogynists who make hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's starting to change, but it's just starting to change. And without me, it can't change as much as it could. But I've got to be willing to choose and know that, and it's taken a while, but I'm there. Whatever, however long it takes, whatever the fuck it takes. Who cares how long it takes for you to get to where you need to be to recognize how great you are? Who cares? You can get there. Ask the universe to show you. But it's not acceptable to me that I live on a planet that, you know, where the primary choices are just destruction of it. Why would that be acceptable to you? Why would that be acceptable to those of us that can actually be the change? And it's not about fighting what they're doing. It's about creating in a totally different direction. And consciousness is the direction. It doesn't have to look any one way. You don't have to start an access consciousness business. You got to be willing to be the reality beyond this reality, which is beyond distractor implants and beyond limitation and beyond anything you've decided is wrong with you. Be that. That's the gift. And then if you have the inclination to create something that invites more people to be that, then be that. But you choosing to be that will be the gift. You choosing to be that will create a different space on the planet for all of us to choose. So succeed, don't succeed, create a business, don't create a business. But whatever you do, man, don't just like kill yourself in the stop. Don't go looking for the why. That's this reality. Go looking for what's beyond that. What's beyond this that I haven't considered? What choices do I have here that I haven't considered? Who am I that I haven't been wanting to claim? That's the brave choice. And you guys have that. You have that available to you if you're willing. You fucking got here, you crafty motherfuckers. So that's it. That's all. I'm going to stop preaching at you because now I'm over my time. I adore you. So grateful for you. And if you think this would contribute to somebody, I'd be grateful if you'd share it with them. And what else is possible? What's beyond? What's beyond the stop? I can't wait to find out. If you want to come play in my 6-month program, we start on Wednesday. Private message me and I'll get you the link. See you soon.